Ash, you can share the presentation. I think we can start the presentation. Let's get going. I am sure there will be more people joining in, but let's start.
Okay, I'll give you a very quick, before I share the presentation, I'll give you a very quick introduction about myself. First of all, a big thank you to Vimal Sharma and ISHEL for inviting me for this. I'm looking forward to a lifelong relationship with all of you all. Now, coming to me, just to give you a rough idea about whether I'm the right person to give this talk. I've been a sportsman all my life, not just me, my entire family. My mother was a national level hockey player. My sister was a national champion in shot put and discus and a state champion in badminton. I have played state level, not state, actually district level badminton, won quite a few tournaments. And my son now is into equestrian. He's won an equestrian bronze also in team dressage very recently. Now, about 33 years ago, when I was playing badminton, I was mentally very fragile and also physically not very fit. So my coach told me, get into yoga. And I very reluctantly, I repeat, very reluctantly got into it, got hooked onto it in a big way. And even I do a little bit of riding now, but because of my yoga fitness, I have developed a different sense of mental and physical fitness, completely different. So I started doing a lot of research on different sports, badminton, hockey, riding, whatnot. And I have come out with certain programs for benefiting each sport. Okay, I've had a lot of students from the equestrian world who have been training. There's Rohan More of Japalope. Imtiaz Anis, I've done a few sessions at his workshop, at his center. I train a few students at the Amateur Riders Club, Mumbai, Bobbin Sering, the coach. So all of you all hopefully are assured that I know what I'm talking about. I'll now straight go on to the presentation. We are first talking about yoga for equestrian. Now, when we talk of yoga for equestrian fitness, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Physical fitness. But there is a lot more to it than physical fitness. There is also mental fitness, which is an absolutely different ballgame altogether. I'll try and cover mental fitness also as much as I can. We've just about a little over an hour for today's session. So we'll do a little bit of fitness for physical fitness. We'll take some question and answers. Then we'll move on to mental fitness. I won't actually go into showing you every asana or every mental exercise or whatever. I'll just briefly run through it. And I'm sure we can have more sessions later on, more workshops or whatever, where we'll discuss this in more detail and we'll actually maybe have more interactions on that. First, let's just run through what physical fitness will comprise. Now, when we talk of physical fitness, what do you think is physical fitness? I would say it's an ability to execute activities with optimum performance, maybe without getting tired, without the body paining. So what does fitness comprise? When a person says, look, I want to be physically fit, physical fitness, flexibility, cardiovascular capacity so that you don't get tired, your stamina, your strength, your endurance. Endurance as in to repeatedly do an activity at the same pace, body composition, fat, muscle, all that is a combination. A combination of all that is physical fitness. Now, why is physical fitness required in all sports, specifically in equestrian sports? I'm sure all of you have a lot of answers to that. I'd say to improve your balance, very important because the horse is moving, to develop control, to be more proactive because it's not alone that you're dealing with a partner, the horse. Very important to prevent injury. I mean, in any sport, you see that the guy is not very fit, he or she gets injured and that's where the problem occurs. Obviously, to better your performance, increase your stamina, enhance endurance, develop your strength. All these things are required in physical fitness. Now, what are the components to develop physical fitness to equestrian? Stamina. Stamina will be developed through cardiovascular capacities. There are certain specific yoga asanas, certain exercises for that. Endurance, doing activities over time with the same consistency. I may say, okay, I'm picking up a weight or I'm in 10 seconds, I'm done. But can I do this repeatedly 100 times? If I'm taking one jump, fine, one jump, two jumps. But can I take 6, 7 jumps? Do I get tired? That's where the endurance comes in. Flexibility, extremely important. You may ask me that, look, okay, flexibility for a squash player, for a badminton player, tennis player, hockey player, fine. But why for an equestrian? One is flexibility will prevent injury. Flexibility will also help you recover fast. See, sometimes some questions came in, very interesting questions about how you have a sore back and how you have sore legs. If your flexibility is better, that will not happen. That injury, that soreness will not happen. Also, your balance on the horse, your movements on the horse will be much better with flexibility. Flexibility is an important, very important aspect in all sports, especially in equestrian. Strong legs, very obvious. You're sitting on the horse, you are going to be, leaning up there, you're going to be standing on the stirrups. So strong legs are a must. You don't have strong legs, you're done for. Strong shoulders, strong upper back. I mean, you're continuously moving. So shoulders and upper back are very important. And I would say a very important aspect, strong core muscles. What are your core muscles? The lower back, the lower abdomen, the pelvic floor, the obliques. Now, this part, right? This is just about the most important part when it comes to equestrian. I mean, I'm not a great equestrian rider or anything by no means, but I'm a very avid rider. And every time I go with my son for his training, I keep hearing all these coaches shout that, like, use your core muscles, use your core muscles. Your core muscles are not weak. And which is why I did a lot of research in conjunction with them and tweaked some certain asanas to develop the core muscles. Now, an important question. Why yoga for physical fitness? You have tens of different activities. You have weight training, you have gymming, you have boot camps, you have what do you call this, CrossFit and functional training and whatnot. With due respect to all that, let me just give you a little base about yoga. Yoga is just about the oldest form of physical fitness. It did not evolve. The prime reason was not physical fitness. It was meant more as a health activity to stimulate your internal organs, to keep you more healthy. But the byproduct was physical fitness and a very strong physical fitness. Most of these movements that you see in cross training, in CrossFit, in functional training, even these simple things like duck walk and what do you call it, those plank walks and all, they are all inspired from in yoga and a section of yoga called vinyasa. We'll come more into that in depth. So all these newer forms of exercise have all been inspired by yoga. Now, what all are the components in yoga that will be required in sport, more so in our physical fitness sport? Asanas. What is asanas? Asanas is simply maintaining a physical posture for a long time. Now, as against an exercise, like in an exercise, supposing you do, up, down, you do it 10 times, 15 times, whatever. An asana is entirely different. You maintain that position. Supposing I have to say back bend. Now, trust me, it's more difficult and you develop more strength maintaining a pose for a longer time as against doing it repeatedly. You get an isometric and an isotonic strength while doing an asana physically. There are challenges. Challenges are basically nothing but simple exercise formats. Now, we have to do a mix of both asanas and challenges, but even in that, there is a certain technique involved. Sorry, something I missed out in asanas, which I'm going to cover more in depth when I come to mental training. It's not just a form of physical fitness. So if I tell you that, like, maintain this and it's for your abs, so just see that you crunch your abs. No, it's a lot of the mind is involved. You don't have to tense your muscles. You have to maintain a certain breathing format, which is so important in riding. You have to use your mind to find out which body parts are being used. I'll come to that more in detail in the mental part. But asanas will develop, more importantly, your breath control, which is important for riding. Challenge will help you again get that tenacity in the muscle. It will develop your cardiovascular capacity also, besides developing the strength and flexibility. Now there is something known as vinyasa, which I told you earlier. Vinyasa is again a very ancient form of yoga. It's a little different from the traditional hatha yoga. There are swinging postures, there are different postures, there are different forms of vinyasa. So supposing you have 10 postures, something like a Surya Namaskar. You take one, Surya Namaskar. Surya Namaskar is what, a sequence of 12 postures. You have some variations to Surya Namaskar where instead of 12, you take 24 postures or whatever, and you repeatedly do the sets. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, one set over, repeat it again. In a vinyasa, what you do is you have about 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever asanas. You hold each position for anywhere between 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever you want. Okay, and you do them one after the other, and you go into a sequence with a specific breathing format. So we can cover the entire body part. You start with the upper body parts. Okay, hold it for 10 seconds. Next position, then go on to the core muscles, then go on to the legs. Believe me, you do a vinyasa for about 30, 40 minutes, you are knocked out flat. I have a lot of students who are heavy into cross training and boot camps and whatnot and functional training. And when they join me, they say, "Arey, ye aapne jo dikha hai, ye hum log ke liye to it's going to be like, halwa," as they said. Very easy. But when they actually go on doing it, then some excuses come out. Actually today I pulled a muscle, so I couldn't do it. Vinyasa is a very extremely intensive form. And trust me, any sportsman does this. He can get extremely fit in no time. Same is the case with Surya Namaskar and flow yoga. Flow yoga is nothing but a non-traditional form of vinyasa. Vinyasa has got certain sets. Some of them are very difficult. So any flow where you flow from one sequence to the other. I made a lot of flow yogas for Equestrian. Any non-traditional vinyasa is a flow yoga. So asanas, chalans, flow yoga, vinyasa and Surya Namaskar will get you, believe me, into top, and I really mean top physical fitness. No harm in doing your weights, no harm in doing your CrossFit, functional training, whatever. But please include asanas and all these other physical yoga methods in your training. We normally, whatever the West does, we always swear by it and take it as the gospel truth. All of you all must have heard of Nick Skelton, the British show jumper. He's an Olympic champion. He's just retired. You know what does he do for fitness? Yoga. And I'm surprised that some of the videos that I've seen, he does it. My God, he's awesome. Also, if you all have known a lot about him, read a lot about him, he had a very nasty fall sometime back. He had injured his neck and he was as good as gone. And through certain yoga asanas, through certain yoga therapy, he got his neck back in shape. When I did my yoga therapy course, a lot of it, I've done 2 years of yoga training, topped the exams and everything. And initially when they told us that yoga therapy can do this, that yoga therapy can do that, I found it a little far-fetched. But trust me, it does really work. And you have it from the horse's mouth, literally, with Nick Skelton absolutely promoting it and endorsing it. Now let's go on to a little ahead.
Ash, I just wanted to say something on the previous screen. Well, I was not aware of the differentiation between the yoga and the vinyasa, Surya Namaskar and all. But for me, when I do Surya Namaskar and I take it a target to do 10 or to 12 of them, but trust me, by 6th or 7th, I'm actually pushing myself over there. So I really need excuses now why I should be not doing 10 or 12, but I still do it whenever I do it. But on the other hand, it's the discipline that is required as well, and that's what my personal experience is. The discipline, not only to do it and continue doing it and believe in it and kind of train your mind to do it, but also the discipline of doing it right and doing it with knowledge. Because I've had one of my friend who started doing yoga. On the second day I receive a call from her saying that I'm stuck in a position, Vimal, can you please come? I have to go to the hospital.
Vimal, with your permission, I'll go a little. I won't take too much time, but I'll just tell you a little bit about Surya Namaskar. See, Surya Namaskar is a set of 12 postures, the traditional Surya Namaskar. Now you have a lot of variations. I've also made a lot of variations for Equestrian, where instead of 12, you can have 24, 36, whatever. Now these 12 postures have to be done one after the other. That comprises one set. When you do 12, it comprises one cycle. So if you do 12 cycles, that's 144. That's actually an entire Surya Namaskar doing. Now, a lot of people have this thing 108. I don't know where this 108 came in from. But in my regular class, we do about 6 sets. So that's about 72. Sometimes we do just 5 sets. That's 60. But believe me, that itself is an absolute workout. There are some variations to Surya Namaskar where we add in some postures, which we'll come to a little later. But in Surya Namaskar, it's not only the body, it's also the mind, because you have to think, I have to do this posture. So your memory, I can't do this. So is my alignment correct? So in every other posture, in Surya Namaskar also, the mind is involved. In Vinyasa, it's a little different. Like I said, it's not traditionally Hatha Yoga. We'll go into it a little depth in some other session. But it's very intense because here you're holding each position. You have to hold each position and then move on one after the other. Now, these are just some pics of the traditional Surya Namaskar. There are 12 postures, as you can see. Some of them are repeat postures. One, you do it with the left leg. Certain schools start with the left, then end with the right, then start with the right in the next, end with the left. My school, we just do all 12, one after the other, starting with the left, ending with the right. Just to give you some examples of additional postures in Surya Namaskar variations, you can make any variation provided they are strictly within the yogic gambit. Whether breathing is taken care of, nothing fancy. I'm not a great fan of power yoga. Power yoga is again inspired by Vinyasa. But I'm not a great fan of this, like, doing yoga with weights and you're doing yoga with all sorts of different things. As long as the postures are within the yogic gambit, it's fine to make your own variations also. There are some variations which I've taken. All these will also help a lot in equestrian. Then just to give you an idea, I'll quickly run through it so that we don't get too late. These are some asanas for leg muscles. I mean, this is just a glimpse that I'm giving you. There are tons and tons and tons of asanas. I mean, when we come to a suggested fitness schedule, I'll tell you how to go about it. You just do even 30 minutes of a leg schedule. Trust me, your legs will start quivering like this. You'll have to have a hot water shower and a maybe cold compress or whatever, but it can be extremely intense. Then we move on to the next set of muscles, that are the back and the shoulders. Again, very important. Just a glimpse of a few asanas up here. As you can see, should I move on to the next slide? These are all for the back and the shoulders. Core muscles. Like I said, again, core muscles, your stomach, abdomen, especially the lower abdomen, the lower back, the pelvic floor, and the obliques. Very, very important in riding. All these asanas, just a few of these. I mean, I couldn't have made a very huge slide presentation, but these 10, 12 asanas that I've shown for each muscle group are enough. Even if you just do these, they will take care of all your muscle groups. You can't, I mean, there has to be a systematic way of doing it, which I'll come to in more detail a little later. Next is...
In the sequence of the images that you have, over here,
yeah,
are these in a particular sequence that...
No, barring Surya Namaskar, they're not in a particular sequence. We've just made it like that. There is no, now only this one, if you can see this particular asana. Okay. It starts like this, and then you go on to this one, and then you go take a forward bend. Things like that. Okay. Here also, this is stage 1, this is stage 2. Some of them are in sequences, some are not in sequences. But that has to be actually demonstrated, and I have to actually train you all for it. That has to be actually trained. Just 1 second, I've lost the screen again. Just 1 minute. 1 second, I've gone up a little bit. Sorry. Yeah. So these are the core muscles I've taken care of. Next is flexibility. Again, here there is no specific thing that you have to take care of. No specific sequence unless the asana is going into a flow. Some asanas have part 1 and part 2. So let's say this is part 1, let's say this is part 2. That has to be obviously done in a sequence. But yes, what is very important is you can't just do something, whatever comes to your mind. That, okay, I'm doing one for the core muscles. Now I'm doing flexibility, then legs. Again, I'm doing something core. Okay. Now let me do shoulder. Now let me do Surya Namaskar. No, that is not the way to do it. If you're focusing on core, definitely finish off with the core, then move on. Normally, if you're doing a 3 or a 4-day weekly session, you focus on one muscle group at a time. Ideally, you should involve flexibility in every session. Maybe not too much, at least 4-5 asanas in the beginning, 4-5 asanas in the end, first to warm up the body, to open it up, and then to make the body more flexible and to remove the soreness. See, removing the soreness, removing the lactic acid from the body after a hectic workout is very important. So even after a vinyasa or a Surya Namaskar, I always make my students do at least 5 minutes of stretching. Very, very important. Okay. Any questions so far on physical fitness before I move on to mental fitness? Because mental fitness is... Yeah.
I have a question. And when you spoke about the lactic acid formation and getting rid of that,
right?
It's not only doing the yoga or the exercises that it might happen. What happens is, when you are riding, you spend half an hour on a horseback. Now you come, you dismount and you start walking, and there's stiffness in your body. If you have a lower back pain, that will pronounce your knees and your joints. There's a lot of stiffness, and I'm sure that's the buildup of the lactic acid as well, with everything that you do on the horseback for that half an hour. For us, when I go on safaris, I ride 8 hours a day, taking a break of about an hour in between. And by the end of the day, when I walk for at least an hour or so, I look like a robot over there. So, what could be a quick and easy workout after riding.
Coming to that.
To
Coming to
keep
that. In fact,
yourself
I'm coming to that
just
because some
after
of
the
the
riding.
questions that have been
Okay.
sent to me also, I'm going to address that also. After that, if any
Okay.
of you have any other questions also, I'll be more than happy to address it. See,
Okay.
one thing is, it's very important. Like I told you right in the beginning, injury prevention and to prevent soreness and to remove soreness, the asanas are a must. I would advocate that before you go start, especially if you're going on safaris or these endurance rides and endurance competitions, 20 kilometers, 45 kilometers, no strength business that time. Strength workout is done pre-training earlier on. Okay, pre-training. So if you have a competition tomorrow, if you have a ride tomorrow, I'm not going to ask you to do strength training now. Strength training is done maybe in the off season or way before the competition. Flexibility train is absolutely important before your ride, before you go for your safaris, before you go for your endurance. After that, there are certain important simple positions, simple stretches. There is something known as Majarasana, the cat position. Okay, what the Westerners call cat cow, but it's not cat cow, it is cat position. There are two stages in it, cat A and cat B. Just now, I don't know whether I can give you a quick demo up here, but it's going like this. This is one position, this is the other position. Okay, now that's not on the slide, but that I don't mind taking an interactive session, with the proper demos and everything. That will get rid of that stiffness in no time. I mean, you can't just do it for 2 seconds. Huh? Okay, done, great, finish. No. You have to hold it for a good 15-20 seconds, maybe even do 2 sets. There are certain simple, very simple stretches. Okay, let me see if I can just do it up here. You can sit up here like I'm sitting. I'm not doing anything, I'm sitting. I'm raising my leg and I'm keeping it on the chair across me. Okay, I don't know if you can see the camera a bit. I'm sitting up here. I've raised my leg and I've kept it on the chair and I'm leaning forward. I'm getting a terrific stretch up here. Releasing it. Again, going down. All along, breathing normally. I'm not tensing my muscles. I'm not doing anything very rigorously or anything, but simple stretches like that will get rid of all your pain, all your stiffness, remove the lactic acid in a very big way. So stretching before
sorry,
and after is a must.
sorry, Yash. Before I lose my chain of thought, I think there is a spark that came up
Please.
now. You could, and this being one of the important, kind of exercises to kind of relax the body after ride. If you can make a quick video and we can share it on the group for people to see and then start making use of it as soon as possible.
For relaxation?
After the ride, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You give me 2-3 days.
Just before the ride and after the ride.
Give me 2-3 days, I'll make it. Give me 2-3 days.
Lovely.
Another very simple thing is
it'll take a week to do it.
These Muslims sit during prayer. Now let me see if I can do it up here. You sit like this, right? Can you see me? You sit like this, right? How the Muslims sit in prayer when they do the namaz. You sit in that position, take your hands up and then go down, continue keeping a butt on the heels and stretch and remain there. I tell you, that is so relaxing. And I watch a lot of football with my son now. I've seen these, Manchester United guys and all doing that. And I'm an avid hockey player. And I remember about 20 years ago, I'd gone to see this Gold Cup in Bombay. And my favorite Dhanraj Pillai was playing. And he was playing for the Indian Airlines then. And after the game, they finished and they were all doing that stuff. And somebody introduced me to him. So I was all thrilled. Meeting Dhanraj Pillai. And I casually asked him, I said that, sir, why do you do this? So he gave me a 5-minute lecture on how it's a yogic thing and how it relaxes you and everything. And I started smiling. So he asked me, "Kyun saab, you're not convinced?" So I said, "No, you're smiling like this." I said, "No, I'm smiling because I'm a yoga therapist myself. And I'm so glad that an international Olympian hockey player believes in something like this." And he said, "What is there to believe in it? It's a fact. It's all sportsmen do it." So these asanas, I'll definitely show it to you. I'll make a video and trust me, they will really relax you. I'll take up some of the questions that have been sent to me. And then after that, you people, please feel free to ask me whatever questions you all want. Okay, I'll start with the...
Actually, Vinati has a hand up.
Hand raised, yeah. Vinati?
Yeah, Vinati, can I finish up with the questions that have been sent to me and then I take up your questions?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. See, one question that most of the questions must have been answered from the talk that we've had, from the slides that you all have seen, but nevertheless, we'll take it in more depth. One question says, lower back is sore after each ride, and I can feel the heat in the lower back. What can I do? Exactly what Vimal just said. I'll show you these asanas. I'll make a video, I'll send it to you. Trust me that soreness will go away in no time. The soreness will go away in no time. How do I keep my seat without bouncing around? Two things. Involves physical and mental training. Mental training, I'm coming to it now. But again, your core muscles. For bouncing, core muscles to a certain extent, the shoulders and the legs also. But once you develop all these body parts, your seat will be much better. Technical adjustments will be taken care of from here, which you are coming into the next part. Okay, arms lose strength working on the reins. Arms losing strength, all these shoulder asanas, they're going to get you stronger. Pictures up here. I don't mind taking a workshop on that also, maybe sending you a video. How do I ensure a long riding stint considering I'm 45? Surya Namaskar, Vinyasa, cardiovascular fitness, not just strength. See, you can't just say one item in isolation. You can't say, oh, I'm only going to get my strong shoulders, or I only need to get my legs, or only my core muscles, or only need to be flexible. It has to be a combo of everything. But as you age, your endurance needs to be improved. And endurance will be improved a lot with Vinyasa and with Surya Namaskars. Surya Namaskars will take care of your cardiovascular capacity, increase it, your strength, your flexibility. And I mean strength for every body part. It starts right from the top, shoulders, back, abdomen, pelvic floors, the legs, everything. So all of that will be taken care of. These are the questions that I had on physical fitness. I hope I've answered them. Yeah, Viniti, you had some questions, and anybody else has any questions, I'll be more than glad to answer them.
So like 2 slides before flexibility, you showed a slide regarding back exercise, right?
I'll go back. Just 1 second. For the before flexibility, right? Not you're looking at the back muscles, no?
Before core.
Yeah, it's coming up. Back and shoulders. Yeah, tell me.
So if a person is having a bit old injury in the backbone, so
Right.
when he goes to the gym, the trainer suggests him to take the basic exercises for the backs, right? But are all these exercises suitable for that person?
See, it all depends. Now, one thing is, let us be very clear. If you have an injury, okay, if you do an asana wrongly, or let me put it that way, if you do the wrong asana for an injury, it can make it worse. So you'll have to go to a proper, absolutely experienced, a qualified, a trained person who knows what he's talking about. Supposing you have injured this portion of the back, okay, there are asanas to get rid of the pain, and the chap tells you that you read something on the internet, or maybe you saw some video on YouTube, and so you decide to do something. Maybe you feel good for 5 minutes, but it can make it worse. There are asanas that will definitely take care of the pain, improve it, okay? But if you do the wrong asana and if you do it wrongly, you can be in a mess. Let me again digress a bit and give you a very quick example. In, I think it was 2014, if I'm not mistaken. I had a very bad labrum. You know, the labrum is this muscle that covers the deltoid, okay? Now, I, for the life of me, don't know how I injured it badly. I now presume that maybe I was doing some, fancy functional training, and I was doing it with one hand, and I think that ruptured it. And some orthopedic doctor told me that, he said, oh, it's no big deal and all, just do a little light pulley, and it will be fine. So, and he gave me some antibiotic, whatever, painkillers and everything. And I started doing that. I felt fine for 2-3 days. So I kept doing it. I didn't realize I messed it up completely. I had ruptured it. It was split from, I had to take an MRI finally from ear to ear and ear to ear on the left one. And it was messed up completely. I went to this sports medicine specialist who's a very good friend of mine, Anand Joshi. He takes care of all these badminton players and cricket players and everything. And he told me, Ash, he's saying, what have you done? You've ruptured it. The only thing that you can do is surgery. So I said, fine. Arthroscopy. I said, you have to do it. You have to do it. And he said, 6 weeks, your hand will be in a sling. And for the next 6 months, you can't do this and you can't do that. And I said, forget it. And another very good friend of mine who's also a very senior doctor. And he said that, Ashdin, you're into yoga therapy. Why don't you talk to some other people and see if something can be done? And I said, fine. And I did a little research on it and I spoke to it and everything. I also went to another acupuncturist, and he also told me, he said, oh, I swear by yoga therapy, and do this. I said, doctor, this is exactly what all I'm going to do. So he says, yeah, I do this, and along with that, I'll do a little acupuncture. But he said, there is no guarantee that you're going to get your thing back. He said, even if you get it back, there is an 80% chance that 80% of the movement will come back. So he all done. He said, meet me after about 8-10 months. So I met him after 8-10 months and he said, how you been and all that. I said, it was absolute hogwash what you told me. You said 80% movement coming back, 80% chance. He said, look, I told you very clearly. I said, doctor, you're completely mistaken. No 80% business. 100% movement has come back. Absolutely 100%. So there was no 80% chance. And he himself was absolutely thrilled. So yoga therapy does have its thing. I'm not saying that it's a be all and I mean, if you've broken a bone, I'm not saying yoga therapy is going to help you. You'll have to get it, plastered or whatever. But you have to do the correct thing. I had done the wrong thing. I messed it up. I then did the correct thing. I got it back in shape. It took me a good 8 to 10 months to get my movement back. Today, with God's grace, I can do every possible thing. So you have to do the right asana. If you've got a lower back injury, you do this asana with the leg folded. Can you see this? This one. Little dicey. It can, this is very good to strengthen the back. Very good to strengthen the back. But you have an injury, you're asking for trouble. There, maybe just the cat pose or maybe just stretching down that namaz pose that I told you will be very helpful. So do the right asana and do it rightly under trained supervision. I'm taking that towards the end also. Trained supervision is a must like that for something like this. Any other questions on physical fitness anybody has? Before I move on to mental fitness is really going to be a long, extensive thing because a lot more is involved in that. Physical fitness, fine. I mean, you get your body developed, but mental fitness takes a lot more to it. Anyone on physical fitness done, or should we move on to mental fitness?
I think we can move on, Ash.
Okay, great. Let's go ahead. Now, this is going to be a lot more in depth. I'm going to take it. Just give me a second. I'll go down. Yoga for mental fitness. Now, again, why? What is mental fitness in the first place? What is mental fitness? And why is it required? I would say mental fitness is, according to you all, what do you all feel? When I say a person mind training or mental fitness, what is mental fitness according to you all? Ability to think clearly. From a sportsman's point of view, maybe not take pressure, take decisions properly, to stay calm. Okay, I would say that would be mental fitness. Maybe not crack under pressure. You've seen these Olympians of late cracking big time and people going through depression and everything. So maybe mental good well-being, not going to depression, things like that. Of course, you have clinical depression and all is a different thing. But a mental well-being, I would say, is mental fitness. Now, why would that be required? Yeah, Vimal, go on, please.
I think mental fitness can be summed up in those t-shirts that are all around the world. Keep calm and then the message. Keep
Very
calm
true.
and play. Keep calm
Very
and write.
true.
Keep calm and do.
No, but Vimal, it's so easy to say keep calm. I mean, I'm telling you, it's very, come on, let me admit something. I preach mental fitness to everybody to stay calm. My students come back to me and I had a cricketer who told me that every time that X particular bowler came, I used to shiver. But today I can whack him around and I feel damn proud that, my students are doing so damn well and everything. But today, when my son is going for REL for a competition and he's on the horse, the most everything, I still find it difficult to keep calm. It's perfectly normal, but there are techniques. So it's easy to say, don't take tension and all. It does come, but there are techniques to it. Now, why do you need mental fitness, especially from sports point of view and equestrian point of view? I've written think clearly, naturally need to think clearly. I mean, you don't think clearly, you mess up the ride completely. To take the right decision, am I taking the horse in the center? If in dressage, am I doing the correct maneuver? To execute your plan of action correctly, your coach has given you something, but suddenly you just brain freeze, blank. Something has gone wrong. You overcome your shortcomings, whatever technical shortcomings are. Then I'm coming to that also. See, mental fitness does not only involve staying calm, not getting nervous, increasing confidence, having a positive attitude. Mental fitness also is improving your techniques. I'm coming to that in great detail later. Okay, let's come back to this. To deal with stress, avoid anxiety, develop confidence, also to deal with untoward situations. You're prepared for everything. Superb. All is done. Suddenly something completely beyond your control happens. It starts raining or something else is there. You panic. Now that's why you have to control it. Maybe something went wrong with the horse. Maybe the stirrup broke. So that's where you need to be alert. So fine. anxiety and concentration and all is fine, but there is one more thing in, to improve your technique. So the coach tells you, okay, for example, that, oh, your elbow should be here. Or I'll give you a very, very quick example in cricket. I had a guy, and the coach told me in Hindi that, look, I'm getting fed up of this fellow. I mean, I've told him 10 times that when the ball is going outside the off stump, not to slash on it because he gets caught at second slip. And I, for the life of me, don't know how to, convince this guy here. So we actually did something which I'm coming to in little detail called visualization and imagery techniques and everything, where you imagine what's, I'm coming to that in detail later. So that visualization helped him improve his technique. I told the coach, I said, look, I'm not a cricketer. What do you want me to do? So he told me that this is what I want him to do. And we imagine that and we focus on that. And that can be done in badminton also. Okay. So if you go on the net, if you're a little slower, if you're a little faster somewhere up here, your technique needs to improve. All that can be done with visualization. I'm coming to that in a little more detail. Okay. Now, can mental fitness be developed? Yeah, physical fitness, you do all these exercises and asanas and all, and you develop your your physical fitness. So can mental fitness also be developed? Yeah, there are a lot of tools for mental fitness, but how do you develop mental fitness? Now, this may sound a little far-fetched. I'm going to take a good 3-4 minutes on this. I'll try and rush through it, but just get this very clear because it can be a little, a little far-fetched. There is something known as the subconscious mind. The power of the subconscious mind. I've written up here what you think you become, what you feel you attract, what you imagine you create. Now, what does that mean? See, I've attended a lot of seminars on psychology, especially sports psychology. It's a subject that's very dear to my heart. Now, first, even I found it very far-fetched, and I've done a lot of reading and research on this. The mind has two parts, okay? The conscious mind and the subconscious mind. It seems that 95% of the brain is the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is a storehouse of all your memories, all your emotions and everything. Your conscious mind is your rational mind. So I lift my hand, I think consciously, I eat. It's absolutely a rational thing, a very conscious thing. Unconscious, subconscious mind is your blinking of the eyes involuntarily, your heart beating. You don't control it, right? Your normal breathing. Of course, when you do pranayama and things like that, you control your breath. That's a different thing altogether. But any involuntary action is the subconscious mind. Now, they say that the subconscious mind, whatever gets embedded and absorbed by the subconscious mind is actually then enacted. It becomes a habit. So let's to put it very simply, if you're constantly thinking negatively, oh, okay, this is a damn jump, I always mess it up. Oh, okay, this is the Waterloo, and that's my Waterloo. Either Liverpool's my Waterloo. Okay, no, I'm done for. I'm never going to make it. That thought goes into the subconscious mind. It's like a habit. It's like I'm smoking. So that smoking habit has gone into it. So you keep smoking. So if a negative thought keeps regularly going into the subconscious mind, I'm nervous. Oh shit, tomorrow is the competition. Oh, I'm nervous. That goes into the subconscious mind. You consciously start acting nervous. You consciously start, there comes the Liverpool, there you have messed it up. So you have to actually feed the subconscious mind via the conscious mind positive thoughts. There are tools to it. We are coming to those tools. Okay. Once the subconscious mind has accepted something, confidence, okay, positivity, you actually start acting on it. Now, I know this is very far-fetched, but try really thinking of it. I'll give you simple examples like you go for an injection, like, and you say, oh, it's going to pain me. But you just shut your eyes and maybe say, look, this is really not bothering me. Sure, there is a little bit of a pinch, but the pain won't bother you so much. Very difficult to enact. There are tools to it. Let's come back to this. Let's go back to these tools. Any questions on subconscious mind so far? Sounds a little far-fetched, but any questions so far before I go ahead on the tools?
I think I'll just draw a parallel to what I have habituated myself. When I go and before I go to the game of polo, from the house that I drive and to the polo field, there's a lot of thoughts that go around, now being a father of two and a family to run and blah, blah, whatever, what if something happens? And we are playing with high goal polo players over there, like Sundays and the Saturday Chakkars, high goal polo players where the ride-offs can be dangerous. Someone hits the ball, come to you and hit it at a high speed. All of those thoughts kind of kick in. But the thing is, from my house to the ground, it's about 24 Ks. And when I'm driving, I just pump up with a high voltage music in the car. And that takes everything away. And then once I'm on the horse, there's there's nothing that's going through my mind. So that's how I train my mind to get rid of all those kind of thoughts.
Music is a very important thing. In fact, there have been so many books written on mind training for equestrian. I didn't even know these books existed till I started doing a lot of research. I've invested a lot of money in buying these books. Okay, some of them are very far-fetched. Some of them do a little bit of spinning, beating around the bush. But the core philosophy is the same. And yes, music is a very important part of it. But almost all the books that I've read, almost all the sports psychologists that I've spoken to, they have come out with some of these pointers on what are the techniques that you can do for mind training, for anxiety, for stress, and for also developing your technique and focusing. Okay. The first thing that we do is asanas. Now, this is again where asanas is physical. What does that got to do with mind training? Now, this is where the difference between exercise and asanas come in. You blindly do it. Okay, jumping jacks or lift the weights or whatever. But in asanas, there are so many things to focus on. Let me get one thing very clear. When I'm doing an asana, if I'm doing an asana for the shoulder, I'm not necessarily only doing it for the shoulder. Every asana will give you a primary benefit and an ancillary benefit. So let's say if I'm stretching like this, I'm trying to specifically work the shoulder blade. Sure, my primary benefit is the shoulder blade, but maybe I'm getting a little bit of a stretch on the cervical region. So I have to use my mind. Where is my stretch happening more? Where is my stretch happening more? It's giving me a fitness benefit, yeah, shoulder, but it's also giving me a health benefit. My blood is flowing down. So you have to, of course, that the trainer, the therapist has to tell you, but you have to use your mind to focus on where the stretch is more, where the stretch is less. Your breathing. There is something known as principle of differential relaxation. When you're lifting weights or you're doing some very powerful exercises, you go like this. That is not to be done in yoga. Yoga, the differential relaxation principle means that whichever body parts are not in use, you relax those body parts. So I'm absolutely calm. I remember one seminar I had gone for, and they said that, yeah, if you can't smile during the asana, don't smile, but don't blooming frown at least here. So keep a very calm face. Don't go beyond capacity. It's not that you're going to push yourself a little bit. I'm not saying don't, but don't go to the extent where you're grunting. So many things to remember. Okay, I'm focusing on where the primary stretch is there. I'm focusing on where the secondary stretch is there. Okay. Oh no, my fingertips have to be relaxed. My face has to be relaxed. My breathing, not to withhold the breathing, not to breathe fast. Normal breathing. Now, how long should I hold the asana? Now, normally what we do is, you see these guys, the trainer gives 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 counts. Okay, 10 seconds. But there is a better thing to it. Count your normal breaths. So normal breathing, breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out 2. Breath in, breath out 3. So many things to focus on. So you're getting the physical fitness benefit. You're focusing on your breath. You're focusing on which muscles are being used. You're relaxing on which muscles are not being used. So asanas themselves can develop concentration, can develop calmness. Now, counting the breath, some asanas which are more vigorous, the breaths will be faster, some will be slower, where the asanas are more relaxed. Some asanas, you may be able to hold it for a longer period, some for a lesser period. That's all perfectly okay, but focusing on all this in the asanas will develop the mind. Breathing is so damn important in yoga. Breathing is so important in equestrian itself. You have to be absolutely calm. Breathing with the asanas is going to develop keeping your calmness and also being absolutely perfect on the horse. There are a lot of breathing exercises in prana and pranayam. Okay, this again we'll run through it in great detail, but there are simple breathing exercises like breathing in, breathing out in certain ratios. Maybe breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the mouth, breathing in from the nose, breathing out through the mouth wide open. Then there is something called Chandra Abhyas, where you only breathe in and out from the left nostril. That calms you down. Now, if I start taking each aspect individually, that's going to take another 2 hours. So maybe this actual demos, we'll take it for a different session or something. But simple breathing exercises and pranayam will still the mind. Even when you do meditation, they always say that do meditation.
Ashdin, go to the next slide.
Yeah, I'm coming to, but first let me just tell them what are the things that come into it. Breathing, meditation, tratak, humming, chanting, all these are the techniques, tools that are used for mind training. First, asanas. We've already discussed the asanas. Focus on the breath, differential relaxation. Okay. Breathing exercises. Breathing exercises increase the supply of oxygen, improves your lung capacity, sharpens the mind, improves decision-making ability, and it's a precursor to meditation. Before meditation, it's extremely important that you do a little bit of pranayama. The mind gets still. It will better accept all the things. See, there's so much of, you're thinking of 10 different things. You do a little bit of pranayama, the mind gets sharp. Then you can go deeper into meditation. There are different types of breathing and pranayama, like I said. One is this in and out from the nostrils. One is deep breathing in from the nostrils, breathing out like this. What the Westerners call box breathing. It's actually known as Amrit pranayama. Then there is deep breathing in. There is one technique up here. When you breathe in, it takes you about 4 to 5 seconds to breathe in. You should hold the breath in for 3-4 seconds so that the oxygen circulates in the lungs, in the cells. It increases your hemoglobin. It sharpens the mind, sharpens the cells in the body. And the exhalation should always be longer than the inhalation. There is a specific ratio. I'm not getting into that now. That has to be done after ample training. But if the exhalation is a little slower, a little longer than the inhalation, all the carbon dioxide will go out, the stress will go out completely. Chandra Abhyas pranayama, like I said, breathing in and out from the left nostril. There are different techniques. Chandra Abhyas, they say the left side of the brain and the left side of the nadis, the channels of breathing, correspond to the mental cooling part. So when you do only left in, left out, it really cools you down. Actually, even in the summer, when we do it, it actually physically cools you also. Then there is a famous Anulom Vilom, the alternate nostril, left in, right out, right in, left out, to be done very carefully. There is a Bhastrika pranayama where you breathe very vigorously, where abdomen goes like this. Excellent to develop stamina, excellent to de-stress. Okay, it increases your lung capacity. Like I said, your stamina increases, it throws out all the toxins. Then there is Kapalbhati. Kapalbhati is only active exhalation, passive inhalation, just this way. Again, very good for stamina. Kapalbhati, many people consider it to be a pranayama, but as per the yogic text, it's not a pranayama, it's a Kapalbhati. It's a kriya. Kriya means a cleansing process. Let's not get into that just now. But all these will de-stress you. Doing Kapalbhati, doing Bhastrika, de-stress you. Now, these have to be done in a certain sequence. Okay, you can't just say, okay, I'll do this now. Now I'll do this. It's like the asanas thing only. It has to be done in a sequence in a very particular way. There is a very deep-rooted science to it. You may wonder, what the hell is left in, right out, right in, left out going to help me out with? If I explain to you, I was not convinced when I'd done 14, 15 years ago when I did my therapy, or for that matter in 1989 when I actually joined up, and the first 3-4 months, I had no clue. I said, this teacher's telling me all these things. What is it, how does it work? And when he actually started explaining to me, it really made sense. And that's when I finally decided that, okay, let me do some courses on this. So that we'll explain to it later, but trust me, take it from me, it really helps a lot. I believe Charlotte Dujardin and Carl Hester also do a lot of meditation, a lot of pranayama. And I was very pleasantly surprised and happy to read about that. Okay.
I think I'll harp on that, Ashdin. During the Olympics, on Charlotte's social media, before each of her event days, she would post on social media to say, spend some time doing meditation and yoga and pranayamas. And she posted on social media every single day before the big event the next day.
Absolutely.
That was quite a thing, yeah.
Gopi Chand, the badminton coach, he's a firm, great believer in yoga and more into meditation. And when he had won the All England way back in 2001, he said that before the event, I'd heard a long old interview of his, and he said, I meditated and I actually done visualization because I knew that Chinese opponent of mine was very strong on the net up here. And so what I had to do and how to calm down. So it really does help. Now we actually move on to meditation, breath awareness, and something called Soham. Now, breath awareness, simple. See, meditation you can go in where people talk of mindfulness and everything. What is mindfulness? Just being aware of something. Now, meditation, what is meditation? It's not rocket science. When you say, oh, I'm meditating, meditation can be anything. It's a prolonged exposure, prolonged focus on something. You could focus on an image, a thought, your breath, on a flower, on anything without your mind wandering. See, mind is a chatterbox. However much you try and control it, it's going to wander 19 to the dozen. So the trick is in bringing the mind back into that particular thing that you are focusing on. So if you're focusing on the breath, your mind is going to wander, and the mind is very sharp. So we have to trick the mind. So when we do something, now here we have said that increased concentration, mental clarity and all, but how do you do that? There are various techniques to it. If you're focusing on the breath, which is known as pran dharana, pran means your breath, dharana is your focus on it. Let's assume that I've said, okay, I'm going to focus on my breath. You think my mind is going to accept it for beyond 2 minutes, 3 minutes? No. However much of a trained mind you have, the mind is going to wander. So you have to keep changing the sequence of the breath awareness. First, you can just simply focus on the breath. Okay, touch of the breath on the walls of the nostril. Okay, great. Now, what else is happening? Oh, some thought has come in. Let me push the thought out. Okay, my stomach is moving in sync with my breath. Breath moves in, stomach comes out. Breath moves out, stomach goes in. Okay, let me go a step further. My mind is getting used to this, so let me start counting my breaths, normal breaths, like how I do in the asanas. 1 in, 1 out, 2 in, 2 out. Mind starts wandering. So let me change the sequence of counts. Maybe I'll count backwards. Maybe I'll count in odd numbers, 1, 3, 5. Maybe even numbers. Maybe I'll count backward odds. Maybe I'll count backward evens. Even alphabets, forward, backward, whatever. Keep changing the sequence every now and then to arrest the flow of the thoughts. Focus on how deep the breath is going. Okay, my normal breathing. Okay, does it touch my soft palate? Does it touch my hard palate? Okay, what else is happening? Maybe, okay, it's going in from the left, coming out from the right. No. It's going in from the left only and coming out from the left. Okay, now the sequence has changed. How often does it change? There are various stages. We can go into it in great depth. Now, what happens is this calms the mind down. And because you're focusing so intently, your concentration is improving. So calming and concentration both happen. But you have to do different, stages, different sequences you have to take every now and then. Otherwise, the mind will wander. There is something known as Soham. This Soham is here I've written, counting the breaths in different sequences. And so Soham is a chant. When you breathe in normally, you chant the word so. When you breathe out normally, you chant the word hum. I'll get into the technical aspect of that later, but that is very calming, used very solidly by cricketers, by goalkeepers, or the person taking the penalty stroke, or the goalkeeper if he's saving it. Even in badminton, okay, 1 point to go, 19 all. I've just got maybe 20 all. I've got 1 point to go. So before you serve, or before the opponent is serving, before you're receiving, you chant the word Soham, then you go down. Okay. So cricket. Okay, I'm about to take. Okay, fast bowler's coming in or the spinner is coming in. Before I take my stance, Soham. Okay, there I'm saying. The bowler, before he's going to think, before he takes his delivery stride, he chants the word Soham. Now, you can't do that on a horse. I know, before the jump comes in, you can't do Soham, you'll get distracted. But while you're going into the arena, Soham, trust me, is just about the most powerful techniques. Lot of sports people have used it. I don't know whether you've heard of Kamlesh Mehta. He held the national record for being the national table tennis champion of India for a number of years. And at a seminar, he spoke about how he would crumble when he had just 2 points more to win, and how the Soham helped him, focus and concentrate better. Then you got Tratak and Bindu Tratak. Tratak is staring at a flame continuously for a number of minutes without blinking your eyes. Or you can go on to Bindu Tratak. Bindu Tratak is focusing on a small dot on a white sheet of paper. Improves concentration in a big way. You can experiment, you can innovate, you can look at your finger, you can look at a flower, you can look at the sky, the moon, the leaf, flower, anything. It improves concentration in a big way besides improving the eyesight. Humming like a bee, it's also a pranayam. You just take a deep breath in, you sit comfortably like this. There's a technique to it also. You can do it by blocking your ears with the fingertips, by blocking the ears with the palms. That humming sound rejuvenates the cells in the brain. It also de-stresses you big time. I'm talking from experience, not just me, but even my students have benefited a lot from this. Very good to de-stress and very good to remain calm. Om chanting, again a favorite with the Westerners. Religious sentiments apart, nothing to do with religion, but just chanting Om in different frequencies, even Om, loud, medium, silent. We'll go into it in great depth later, some other time. But Om chanting can be again very good to stimulate the brain and to calm you down. A lot of these mind training techniques that we are talking about, all that we've discussed, a lot of that is written in the Bible, a lot of that is written in the Bhagavad Gita. It has been adapted into psychology and into sports training. Deep relaxation therapy. There are various things. Shavasana. Shavasana, again, very important. This is when you finish your ride, especially when you're finished a safari. Please do Shavasana. Now, what is Shavasana? People say, oh, just you have to sleep. No, it's not just sleeping. It's actually focusing on every part of the body and relaxing it, commanding the body part. Okay, I'm focusing on my palm. The pain's going away from my palm. Okay, my thigh is sore. Now the soreness is going on. There is a deep technique to it. More often than not, people lose consciousness and they go to sleep in Shavasana. Shavasana is not about sleeping. It's about being conscious and aware of the relaxing process of every part of the body. Yoga Nidra is an extension of Shavasana, where while you're doing Shavasana, you don't relax the body part, but you imagine. You imagine you're on a beach, you imagine on the mountain, you imagine relaxing yourself. You can even do visualization, like I said, that okay, the fast bowlers coming in, or like I gave you the example of that person hitting out in the slips. You can do Yoga Nidra with that also. Nyasa is another extension where actually the coach touches the body part and he says that, okay, touches your body part and says, okay, your hand is relaxed. You can also do it by giving chance. What I do is when I do Nyasa, is I focus on the body part. Okay, my leg. Okay, so power is coming in, energy is coming in, hum. All the pain, all the stress is going out. Okay. You can even do it with Om, simply chanting on the lower half of the body or the upper, whatever, and chanting Om in different sequences. This is a must, not only after a physical workout, but after a ride also. I know it's very easy for me to say, but when you're in the paddock or in the riding arena, where are you going to do Shavasana? But maybe you can find a small corner, definitely after an endurance ride or a safari. The hell with it. If you don't have maybe you just use no yoga mat, use a towel. 5 minutes, 4 minutes of Shavasana, simply lying down, but not going to sleep, being aware of the body parts. We can do an actual session on this. It will really relax you. Really relax you, trust me. Visualizing and imaging, I've already spoken to it in detail, where you actually visualize your technique. So if the coach has told you that, look, every time you're approaching a jump, maybe your elbow is going out like this or your leg is flying out like that, you sit down, you visualize, you close your eyes and you visualize, okay, no, okay, the jump's coming. Wait a minute, I made this mistake. I reverse my, go into reverse again, freeze the image and again focus on it. I gave you that example of cricket, you can use it. I gave you the example of badminton. In riding, visualization and imaging can be used in a big way. Visualizing is very, very important to improve your technique, to enhance your skills, to improve your performance. I have read this, I can't remember the name of the guy, but this was years ago when I was totally taken up with visualization. I read about this Olympic high jumper who couldn't clear a specific distance, and he couldn't clear that height, not distance, sorry, height, because every time he would approach that, that high jump, his elbow would hit the bar and the bar would fall down. And the coach said that I just can't figure out what to do with him. And this guy started imagining. He shut his eyes and he actually visualized that, okay, I worn my tracksuit, I've done my warm up, I've approached my mark, I've gone up. Now I've gone up, I've taken the turn. Wait a minute, my elbow's again gone out. Correction, reverse. And he kept visualizing, and he wanted to cover an X height. And he kept visualizing that his elbow is perfect. And he finally, the Olympics, broke the Olympic record and he went higher than what he wanted to do. Visualizing is a technique that is used highly in the Bible also. Sports psychology and all have taken a lot, like I said, from the religious texts. But visualizing and imaging, very important to improve your technique, very important to calm down also. You can visualize being very calm, very confident. Positive self-talk. Now, this may sound again very far-fetched, but there are 4 types of positive self-talk. One, you can say that I will not be nervous. Then bring it into a more positive, into a more present tense. I am not nervous. Repeat it 5-6 times each. Then into a more positive context. Instead of saying nervous, I will be confident. And then positive in the present tense, I am confident. You go on repeating it and there again visualize. When you say the last one, I am confident, you go on repeating it and visualize yourself being confident, walking with a swagger. In auto-suggestion and positive self-talk, a lot of these Westerners use a concept called fake it till you make it. So in the sense that you're going to be nervous. So you are nervous. So actually start, pretending that you are very, pretending to have a swagger, walk with a little bit of a swagger. Imagine that you are very positive. So go on faking that you are positive till it actually becomes a part of you. Thought replacement therapy and diversion of attention. Now, this is again something that has worked very well with a lot of my students. See, more often than not, the mind is trained to take negative thoughts and be nervous. So you have to imbibe positive thoughts into it. So when a negative thought comes in, what do? You dwell onto it. Oh shit, the jump is coming. I'm going to mess it up. Oh, this dressage maneuver, very difficult. I don't know how I'm going to do it. The moment a negative thought comes, a lot of people actually tell the negative thought aloud or in the mind, get out, get out, get out, and replace it with a positive thought. So, okay, dressage maneuver, not done. No, out. Oh, done. Oh, okay, Liverpool. Can't manage? No. Get out. Okay. There it is. Visualize. Oh, positive thought. So again, maybe give the mantra, maybe give this positive affirmation, but change the thought immediately. A lot of people also do a diversion of attention. They keep staring at that Liverpool or at that particular dressage point. Stop doing that. Divert your attention. Pet your favorite horse, look at the sky, maybe give some mantra. Some of these religious people even give their own praise the Lord or Jai Ganesh or whatever. Give anything that to divert your attention. This is very important, and this has worked wonders with my students. I've done a lot of this. I've done with my son also. I've done this a lot. Diversion of attention, thought replacement therapy works big time, and not only in sport, in anything. You're worried about something, nervous about something in office, something about anything else. Replace that thought, bring in a positive thought. That will definitely help you out in a big way. Now, we have finished the mental part also. We've quickly run through it. Sorry, we've gone beyond time. I'll just any questions before I can quickly run through. If you all want to do a quick, if you all want to know how to make a session, how to make a chart, how to take your fitness schedule, any questions on mental health so far? I've got 2-3 questions which people have sent to me, and I will just answer those accordingly. Just 1 minute. One person has asked me that just 1 second. How do I keep calm and not miss the jump sequence and not get worked up with jump numbers over and above jumping itself? The answer was there in the presentation that I've given you. There are so many things you can do pre-training much before, maybe 3-4 months before the event. You've done your pranayam, you've done your mind training, you've done your visualization. Even during, just before going on the horse, Soham or any religious chant that you want to give, visualize that you are taking the jump correctly. That will all help you completely. One very good question: how can yoga and meditation promote values like fairness, sportsmanship, acceptance? Acceptance is very important. I mean, you've given your best. Now leave to God the rest. If you're not religiously inclined, okay, you've given your best. Somebody else is better than you. Your mind has been trained for that. Friendship, fairness, sportsmanship, yes, all a part of sportsmanship. I mean, one thing I hate is this cheating thing, or like, even wishing somebody evil. Oh, I hope that guy drops his jump. No, your mind is so conditioned. You have conditioned your mind so big time that immediately, okay, you lost, somebody's done a better job. You go pat the guy on the back, shake his hand and say, well done, buddy. Very difficult. I mean, you've lost a close battle. But that's where your mental training, where your mind training comes into it. Any other questions before I quickly move on to a quick 2 minutes on what sequence can be adopted by all of you all to do your training? Any questions on mind training?
I think not a question, but for each of the slides that you have over there, I think the good thing would be to have a session on each one of those topics, and which is very kind of in depth, anyways, and informative, and more from a practicing point of view. But we'll talk about it. I'll talk to you about.
Yeah, Vimal, see, each topic is very extensive. It's not that, oh, okay, we've done Anulam Vilom 2 minutes here, and now we did visualization 1 minute here, and we did a chanting here, and we did a humming there, 1 minute here, 2 minutes there. It's not going to work like that. This is not an instant coffee that you are like, or an instant noodle, you mix it and it's ready. This is more like, a chef's dish that is like churning it and, overnight marinated and things like that. Now, to give you a quick thing on how many days a week should you train? Well, 3 to 4 days in a week is good enough. What you can do is, if you're doing a 1 hour session, do 20 minutes of either a flow yoga, a vinyasa, or a Surya Namaskar is a must. Then take up one muscle group, another 20 minutes. Let's say today I'm taking core muscles. You decide, but then only work on the core muscles. Do a little bit of stretching. 10 minutes of breathing and pranayam, and 10 minutes of either meditation, visualization, tratak, shavasana, whatever. Next session, again, start same thing. Flow yoga, 20 minutes. Again, asanas. Take up any leg. Okay, leg muscles today. So leg muscles, 20 minutes, 10 minutes pranayam, 10 minutes meditation. Time is very flexible. This is not a hard and fast golden kind of thing. You decide. Depending on the time at your hand. You have more time, you can increase something. You feel that, no, my legs need more strength, my core muscles need more strength. Increase it there. Okay, I don't need so much of mental strength. I'm anyway strong enough here in the mind. You decide how much attention you want to put more on where. But definitely do a little bit of relaxation. Breathing and relaxation are a must. On the third day, you can do again, take up another shoulder. This Surya Namaskar on the first 20 minutes are a must. Maybe target the shoulder muscles. And on the last day, maybe take stretching. Some people say, look, I can't devote 4 days, maybe only 3 days, maybe only 2 days. Definitely include stretching. Then maybe a little bit of core, little bit of shoulder today, little bit of stretching. Tomorrow, okay, legs and a little bit of stretching. But the flexibility asanas are a must. Absolute must. One word of caution. I'm not trying to deter you or anything, but a word of caution. You do something wrong physically. One of the ladies asked earlier, you can get injured very badly. You have to do it under a trained, proper therapist, a trained, proper teacher who knows what he's teaching you. You look at, today is a fashion looking at YouTube. People even learn riding from YouTube. I don't know how. You read magazines and then you do something and then you're done for. Then you're at the physiotherapist for the next 6 months. Please don't do anything without training. It's as simple. You go riding, right? On day one, you're not going to go beyond maybe trotting, right? On the first day, if I say that, look, let me go for a canter, recipe for disaster. Ideally, the coach is not going to let you do the walk also without an escort. So same thing in yoga. Even breathing. You do the, what is that? Simple breathing I'm doing. Wrong breathing, you're playing with your lungs. You're playing with your respiratory system. Wrong technique of breathing, wrong exhalation will damage your lungs. So please be very careful. Even wrong meditation done wrongly can cause you a lot of emotional distress, a lot of emotional turmoil. So whatever you do, whether it's physical, mental, breathing, anything, has to be done under a trained, proper therapist, under a trained teacher. Once you're adept at it, it's like riding. Then you don't need the trainer. Today, the coach has not come, you're on your own. Sure, you picked it up nicely. Now you can do it on your own. This is as far as my presentation was concerned. Just my contact details. If anybody wants to get in touch with me for any inquiries, any sessions, any workshops, any information, these are my details. My WhatsApp number is given up here. You can, those of you who are not based in India can call me on WhatsApp or send me a message. My email ID is given up here. My website is given up here. In fact, do go through my website, because my website is quite in-depth. Forget, talking about myself or anything, but there is a section on do's and don'ts of yoga on my website. Definitely go through that. It will give you a lot of information about yoga itself. I have an Instagram account also. I also have a Facebook account, not very active on it, but occasionally I do put up some posts. So you can go through that. Feel free to contact me whenever you want, whether it's for workshops, whether it's for any sessions. I'll be more than glad to help all of you all out. Thank you to Vimal for asking me, inviting me to do this thing. This is a lifelong relationship that I'm going to develop with you people, and I'm looking forward to meeting all of you someday in the near future. I also want to thank Imtiaz Anis for putting Vimal and me together. Imtiaz Anis, as you all know, is an Olympian who's represented India at the Olympics, written a book on his Olympic journey. He's my son's mentor also. And I'm looking forward to meeting Vimal when he comes down to Imtiaz's center at Nargol. Thank you to all your participants. You have been a big source of motivation to me also. Your questions have been very encouraging. And finally, a big thank you to Nargis, my wife, and my son's Ray. As you can see, I was faltering a bit. Like I said, I'm very tech unsavvy. And these two people are the ones I always turn to when it comes to any tech presentation. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much. Open house now. If you want to ask me anything, discuss anything, I'm all yours.
Ashdin, just want to let you know, Rohan was watching the whole presentation with me. He was sitting here.
Oh, hi, Rohan.
He just stepped out just now.
Okay.
I told him he could sing, but he was watching it, so I thought I'd let you know.
Oh, great. I'm glad. Rohan Mores of Japaloop. That's where it all begins. Japaloop is the center where all kids go to learn your yoga. I'm saying Equestrian. My son also started his journey with Japaloop, and that relationship still will remain. Yeah, Vimal, you're saying something?
Yeah, no, Nargis, please convey my regards to Rohan as well. And he should have come on camera and, just waved at us. Is he there?
Is the comeback? Is he back, Nargis? Is Rohan back or something?
Nargis, I think you're on mute. We can't hear you.
Sorry. I went back on mute. No, I was looking for him because he'd stepped out. I think one of the parents has come, so he's gone to talk.
Okay.
Rohan's as strong as a bull. He does a lot of these, he's heavy into power training and everything, but he does quite a few sessions with me on stretching and especially again this rehab. So sometimes he tells me, Rash, my whole body is stiff. I can't move. I can't do this, can't do that. So we say, okay, chalo, let's do this today. Okay, which part? Back, legs, whatever. And then in no time, it's not a vain boast. I don't want to pat my back or blow my own trumpet. But in no time, he's fine again. So trust me, give yoga a shot. Even mind training sounds very far-fetched, but give it a shot, see the results. I don't mind doing a few sessions. You will absolutely prove it to yourself. Will you actually believe in it when you really do it? The proof of the pudding is in the eating. So give it a try. You will see the results.
Yeah.
Anything else, or we are done? I have the time, so no problem, no issue from my side.
No, just a chain of thoughts where you can catch up on some breathing on your side. Nergis is smiling. Can be for few reasons. She's proud of you, or she's like, okay, that the session has gone on and you did well. So I think that smile tells a lot. It's a good session. It was a good session. So thank you for you to devoting that time and that kind of forward coming to this whole concept. And I think my mind has already triggered a few of the future sessions that we will be doing, and I would talk to you about them. And I think there's a lot of value that can come out. This was more of an introduction session. So there'll be quite a few avenues that we will open up, because riding and horses is one part of it, but taking care of self is a very key concept, wherein, when you work as an athlete with the horse, there's a lot that depends on your well-being. Like in flights, we see, in the case of emergency, when the masks come down, have the mask first and then assist the passengers. It's the same thing, the self well-being is so important. I think that's something that we'll gain out of this interaction more and more, starting from today into future as well. And of course, there's a lot of inspirations that come through a lot of places and interactions. So I'm sure there'll be few of people on your side and few of the people as examples from my side that we can bring together, and we can talk about how they do certain things and why do and how good they do certain things. Like, I'm inspired more by Rohan's mother than Rohan himself, because
absolutely
that lady is such an inspiration for every time I see a post from Rohan on his mother, I'm inspired to the T. I'm like, I'm not old. I'm absolutely not. I've just started. I started yesterday, and I'm going too deep into.
No, I agree. She's one of the most amazing.
Tell them about her achievements. Just let her to interrupt. Lorraine More, the founder of Japaloop, Rohan's mother, she's won 8 gold medals at the Asian meet for veterans. She's a 68-year-old lady. She dabbled in doing weights just to get rid of osteoporosis. Today, she's the Asian champion in her weight category and has in 8 different groups, 8 gold medals. Nationals, it's like having a sweetmeat or something for her. Nationals, there is no competition for her. And at the Asian Games also now she's reached that level. So she's an absolute inspiration. There's no question about it. And that this age thing it's all here. So throw out that age nonsense.
Absolutely.
And, Rohan, sports is in my blood. Women's sports is in my blood. And like I told you, I'm glad that I met a co-brother who's also a sports fanatic. And I've now taken a keen interest in equestrian because of my son. So anything for sports, anything for equestrian, I'll be more than glad. Like I said, this is going to be a lifelong relationship.
Okay. Good. I think we have had some comments from the members. Vandana says a beautiful and very informative session. Thanks, Vandana. Viniti says, thank you so much, sir. It was a wonderful session. Thanks, Ash. Compliments to you. Tanvi says, thanks so much for the great session. That's good. Gothman says, thank you for the valuable content. I think, Gothman, it was a start, and I think we will delve down into this content more and more and have future sessions that will be of more enriching value. Then we have Kirti Varman's saying, thank you for the informative session and keep up the good work. Thanks, Ash. That goes to you. And then Sashi Shekhar says, looking forward to future sessions. There you go. We have speakers already. Wish this was taught to us back in school when we were starting out. Absolutely. I mean, that's
I started very late.
Good observation. Yeah. And then Meenakshi says, very inspiring. Thanks for this. I think our members have been enriched by the 1.5 hours that we have spent. and that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's thoughts that are triggered in my mind, and we'll work on that more. In August, we're planning another, kind of physical workshop in Rajasthan at my center. So we'll work that out as well. If there's
Sure.
something that you can come out and you can talk about these things to the people who are from the rural backdrop, because on those
Sure,
workshops,
sure.
more and more people from the rural backdrop come in and, try and get more and more into the concepts of being a good equestrian and being a good horse keeper.
Yeah.
So Ash, with that, I think thank you so much.
My apologies, Vimal, for exceeding the time. I've gone way beyond the time. Sincere apologies for that, but I think I got a little. I went too in depth in it. I tried to keep it within time, but my apologies for going overboard. But I hope you all have enjoyed, and I hope I've contributed something to increase your knowledge in this topic. Thank you so much.
As well, Ash. I know we started with 8 members in the session, and now we are 20. I can count, and the 20th was added in the last 5 minutes. So.
Maybe you can share the recording with them. I have absolutely no problem on that. I'm really humbled by all your comments. And like I said, I look forward to maybe meeting you all sometime and interacting with you all more often. Thanks a lot. Please keep in touch.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you, Ashdin.
My pleasure. Thank you. I'll see you all sometime.